In Uganda, our disasters are usually almost annual because you'll have a food shortage in a certain place in the country. You'll have a drought once or even twice a year.
Just recently, there was a disaster in the country where cholera claimed a number of lives. The levels of reporting on disaster, matters are very low. Most of the time, you'd find journalists being invited to cover an event. What will happen is that they will cover individuals or officials at that particular event, not necessarily the activities of the event.
We do report disasters, but usually it's when the disasters are taking place. It's rarely. People rarely invest money in reporting about things like resilience, for example, because media houses are basically trying to get the quick story, because then that reduces the cost you invest in a story. The media's role is important, and it's always about creating public awareness, and to create public and even hold governments accountable, you have to understand the subject on which you're reporting. So
we need to realize that some of the people that may be afflicted by these disasters are our own relatives. So there is need for this story to be told. And there is no other person who's coming to tell the story other than ourselves. We can tell it better because we see it, we feel it, we live it.
Journalism is more than simply telling the stories. So I do believe the importance of journalism here, the importance of the media here, is not simply about covering the event, but understanding what is at stake and make it important enough. Being able to make people understand the stories is what we should be looking around as media.
There are quite a number of issues that make it difficult for us to go through. Pieces of legislation do not support the work of the media. As a result, you always hit a brick wall.
The lack of access to reliable information. We'll be talking about report numbers, billions of dollars of damage, but in the end, that's global. We still need statistics on a day-to-day basis, on countries-to-countries basis.
There is never a better time like this to invest in Afrocentric data about disaster risk reduction. We cannot be having Westerners talking to us and telling us about our disasters, our experiences from their lens. It is time that we tell our story. We own our narrative. We have our data. We invest in our own kind of theories and ideas and frameworks that can actually be able to help us become the owners of our development. The more we subcontract the foreigners, the externals, to talk to us about our disasters, our homes, our communities, we lose the power to change.
So is it possible that through the UNISDR office, we have more partnerships between journalists, media houses, and data gathering organizations?
I have met scientists, projects, people from NGOs, people from government. What is the solution?
When you start to do reports, they ask you why you are doing this story.
I, as a journalist, use techniques to be able to deliver my story. And if I cannot do that, then probably I would need help and training in terms of being able to identify where the story is.
Being here, being able to exchange knowledge, being able to be trained with other journalists, being able to talk to other journalists, to see their stories, to understand what they're talking about, to see what they want to say and what they are saying in their papers or in their stories, or selling the stories to their newsroom, does give hindsight and a way to maybe have a better idea of, what kind of story do I need to sell? What kind of story do I need to tell? And what information needs to go through that?
But crucially, I think it's important that because we are raising a strong cadre of African journalists who are able to tell the DRR story in Africa boldly. And so meeting regularly gives us an opportunity to track our progress and also to see how best we can be able to continue telling this story. There is now a body of journalists who are together. There's a network. We are going to do an awards for the first time. We are bringing in increasingly people who are coming from either the business reporting, human interest reporting, political reporting. Perhaps the only people we need to work now closely is to bring in more editors into this. So I think we are making progress, and slowly by slowly we are going to have a bigger impact in this continent.
We need to invest more in training our journalists in covering disaster. I think our schools, our universities, our colleges are focusing more on reporting development and politics and not specializing in reporting on issues such as disasters, natural calamities. Very few would be trained to do that.
And what we just need to do is to keep on encouraging more of our journalists to be bolder, to be determined, to pester the news desks so that this story can keep on being out there.